Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. We are into the middle of June. Earnings definitely slowed down a lot, and we haven't really lacked for action lately. So I'm hoping like that continues because it's like a nice little bridge between, um, this recent quarter, which is kind of wrapping up, and like the upcoming quarter, which starts in July. So, a lot of busy days, even though the earnings calendar isn't that full. And it'd be nice to see like another couple weeks where you get some busy action, and then July things really start to fire back up. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. So Monday before the open, Hexo cannabis name, priced in about 75 cents or so. I really thought the cannabis names were going to get going this week. You had all the other names squeezing. This was a group that moved back in January, but they just could not get the momentum. And um, I mean, I have been looking at this as like a bull breakout setup, and I still think my bias remains to the bull side. But I feel like this report's going to need to be good. Otherwise, it could kind of take a toll on the pattern. Also, it could kind of weigh on the group in general. So I feel like it's a setup where it should move, and um, feel like it's something where there's probably more upside potential than downside. But I mean, definitely acknowledging that if it's not good and it starts to lose some of these upper levels, the stock could get hit a little bit harder too. After the close of Monday, nothing of interest. Same thing on Tuesday morning, really nothing of interest. After the close on Tuesday, though, Oracle is a big one. First in about 4 points. It's been a leading name for a few months, and just recently had a swing trade on it that worked pretty well. Because looking for like the breakout above 80, nice breakout extension. Now it's pulling back a little bit. The thing with Oracle is that it had kind of like a similar setup last quarter: breakout, big run, and then it got hit really hard on earnings. Obviously, it made it all up, and then some, right? But it's kind of like a similar pattern, and expectations are higher after like the big run it's been on. Um, I will say that I mean the option pricing doesn't seem too elevated, but I am a little bit more cautious on it just because of how much of a rally it's had, and also what it did last quarter. But I do think like the option pricing might leave a little bit of room on either side. I mean, if it's surprisingly good or surprisingly bad, 4 points doesn't seem too bad. Lazy Boy. It's about 3.5 or so is what they're looking for here. I don't trade very often, but it seems like it could be a decent volatility strategy candidate. Stock has been range bound for a few months. And the last two quarters actually had a pretty large reaction to earnings. Option price doesn't seem bad either, so it's kind of an interesting one. For the open on Wednesday, nothing scheduled. After the close on Wednesday, honest. So about 225 is what they're looking for here. First report is a public company. New IPOs, they can be extremely volatile on their first earnings release or duds. It's really hard to tell because there's no history to really base it off of, right? The stock looks like it's attempting to turn the corner, and the option pricing isn't too crazy either based on its average daily move. But I feel like it's kind of a toss-up. Sometimes these new issues can really surprise with movement, but I mean this isn't really a setup that really like screams anything to me. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with it. Lennar, about 475 is what they're pricing in on this. Home builders lost some momentum. Lennar has been sliding for about a month now. It's below some big levels too, below the 100-day. I haven't traded this group much the past few months, and I think I'd just rather wait and see what they say, see how the stock reacts to kind of get a feel for it before stepping in for a trade. Um, it did have a really large reversal intraday last quarter, so that was this big green bar. So I think this is something that I'm going to keep an eye on during the session, that day that it reports, just to see if it does have like a move on the conference call like last quarter. But I don't think I'm going to take any options into the print. For the open on Thursday, Kroger. So about 2 points is what's priced in. Um, for a while, like over the last 2 to 3 years, you could just like set your clock to Kroger moving more than the price didn't move. I mean, it was so consistent. Quarter after quarter after quarter would move more than what was expected. Lately, though, it's been quieter. It did get wrapped up in the whole squeeze in January with a lot of those other stocks, but this time around, it didn't take off like that. Um, I'd say overall, though, I mean, it does seem kind of like a solid bull setup, but earnings haven't really been major events, so I don't know. It's kind of tough to determine whether it's worth laying out the money for options into the report or not. Um, I'm on the fence with it. Maybe see how the week goes. Might be something I look at on Thursday. And then lastly, Thursday after the bell, Adobe. So about 22 points is what's priced in. Another big tech report. This one just had a huge breakout this week. Finally cleared this long resistance range. And it acts great. It's coming off a beat and raise in March. The thing with Adobe though is that it doesn't really always get rewarded for good numbers, um, and that kind of coupled with the fact that option pricing is a little bit higher. The stock has also had a big run into earnings. I mean, it seems like the expectations are higher. Maybe if it cools off the next few days, it could be a better setup. Right now, I feel like if it keeps just chugging along to the upside, it's probably going to be a void for me. Um, But I mean, either way, this is probably something I'm going to keep an eye on after earnings because if the numbers are good and it kind of maintains this leadership, it could be one that has like a pent up breakout because right now, I mean, it's only just coming up to where it was back at the end of September or back at the end of August, early September. So, I mean, a pent up move could be pretty significant, but in terms of earnings, I'm not sure that I'm necessarily going to do anything with it. Post earnings, though, different story. And then Friday before the open, nothing scheduled. So that's it. Quiet week. A couple big names, but it's pretty thin. So we'll have to see how things shape up on the earnings front. But we obviously have not lacked for action. There's been a lot of things moving around. So um, again, I say it's like a nice little bridge between what's like typically kind of like a slow time of the year in June, and then things pick up in July. So we've had plenty to do. All right. So, if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading earnings with options or just option basics like the price didn't move, like what I always talk about, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Hope you have a wonderful night. Stay well, and then we'll talk to you all.